The chronological Bible reading for January 28th is Genesis chapters 46 and 47. We see Jacob reunited to Joseph, traveling down to the land of Egypt, subjecting himself and all of his family to Pharaoh. And yet, even in the midst of being in Egypt, they were separated. They lived apart in the land of Goshen. And these are also allegories. They are real historical facts, and they are applicable to our spiritual lives. God ordained that these stories be here for us to learn from. And so Jacob, representing the people of God, is going to a land called Egypt. Egypt in Scripture is the literal physical land of Egypt most of the time, but prophetically and symbolically, Egypt represents the world. The Hebrew root word for Egypt means siege, distress, and confinement. God was leading the people of God to this place in the world, this place of being sieged, being confined, a place of distress. And yet through this place, God was moving in his people to extract something from them. And he said, as long as you stay where I plant you within this land, I will always be with you, and I will bring you up out of it. As Israel began his journey to the land of Egypt, God appeared to him and spoke. I am God, the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt. I will make you into a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also bring you back. Just as God was sending the literal Jacob and his sons down to Egypt and promised to bring them back, he also sent us down to this world to live in this place of being confined in these bodies with a taskmaster like Pharaoh, who is the god of this age, ruling over us. And we are contending with God to rise above and make our way back to him. And God is saying, if you stay in that land of Goshen, which represents a place of safety and provision for the people of God in the midst of the world, if you stay in that place, then I will protect you. I will be with you. I will meet your every need. And at the end of your time there, I will bring you back up to the promised land. I wonder if Jacob knew that this was the beginning of the fulfillment of the word that God had given to Abram all the way back in Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. God said to him, your descendants will be sojourners in a foreign land for 400 years. They'll be servants there, but I will bring judgment on the nation that they serve, and afterward they shall come out with great possessions. I wonder if Jacob knew this was the beginning of a 400-year period of time in which the people would be enslaved, but through their enslavement would become wealthy. At the end of chapter 46, when Jacob and Joseph are reunited, he tells his brothers and his father to go stand before Pharaoh and to tell Pharaoh that they are shepherds, because shepherds are an abomination to Egypt. Symbolically, what is it to be a shepherd? It's one who tends the flock, who cares for and provides for the animals. It's somebody who takes care of something that is less than itself. Being a shepherd in the physical is very much like being a pastor in the spiritual, and those two terms are used almost interchangeably in the New Testament. The world system hates the true shepherds. The world system wants nothing to do with it. You can be a shepherd, Jacob and family, but go do it over there in that land. Don't do it around us. We don't want to see it. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to have anything to do with you. And that is a picture of the world system rejecting the ways of God. And maybe that's why so many people in the world are able to go to institutionalized religious churches where they get just enough of a message of the truth that it makes them feel as though they've checked off a religious box, but they don't really know the truth of who God is and what he's saying A lot of our churches today want to appeal to the masses. They've built nonprofit businesses in the hopes that they'll be able to draw in large numbers of people. But instead of living in the land of Goshen, that it's separate from Egypt, they're right in the midst of Egypt. And because they're not sharing the unadulterated truth, so many of them are indistinguishable from Egypt itself. Joseph took 5 of his brothers to Pharaoh and said, "I'd like you to meet my family." Pharaoh said, "What's your occupation?" And they said, "We are shepherds. Both us and our ancestors, that's all we've ever been. That's all we care to be. We are shepherds." And Pharaoh said, "Go, take that land of Goshen, be separate. We don't want anything to do with you." As the famine continues to get worse and worse throughout chapters 47, people run out of money. Then they trade their land for food as well as their livestock. The world becomes completely dependent upon the institution of the government. Pharaoh becomes wealthy. He owns it all. However, Israel, in verse 27, acquired property. They became fruitful and very numerous. It's possible to be in the world, but not of the world. It's possible to be close to God and be separate from the world. God will not allow His people to go off into the world and flourish there. God is saying, be apart from the world. Be unlike the world. Devote yourself wholly to me. Live over here where I'm asking you to live. Do these things that I'm telling you to do. Be completely and totally separate. And as you do that, I'll bless you. Chapter 47 ends with Jacob telling his son Joseph that he's coming to the end of his days. And he makes Joseph swear to him that he won't let his body stay there in Egypt. Joseph swore to him, and he bowed in gratitude and in worship to the God who had provided for his family, who had reunited his family. And although he had gone 22 or so years not seeing his son, Joseph, his favorite son, he was able to spend the last 17 years of his life with him. And God blessed him. And may He bless us as well. May He give us the grace to walk through everything that He's placed before us. May we do it well for His glory and for our good. God bless you, my friends. May He fill you with His Spirit, give you hope and peace and joy, patience and kindness, gentleness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control. See you tomorrow.